Alright. Alright, guys, it's getting a little late, so I'm gonna do one reaction video. And it's one best we can solve reaction video. I was planning on doing two this recording session. But it's getting late, I want to take a shower. So we're gonna react to the sudden disappearance of Cynthia Anderson. One I'm familiar with.
This week on BuzzFeed Unsolved, we discussed the sudden disappearance of Cynthia Anderson, who vanished from her job in Toledo, Ohio almost 40 years ago.
Yeah, I think she was
like the sound of
kidnapped.
that. Vanishing from your job? I would
Is she
rather
still dead?
vanish from my home.
I know,
That's true.
and
Vanishing on the job, you're still working and then you just want to go home for the day. Too bad, you got vanished.
All right, let's just...
yeah. Oh, look at the size of those fucking marshmallows. I got a toasted marshmallow scented candle.
Let's get into it.
And I
In
bought some
August
s'mores
of
flavored ice cream
1981,
today.
Cynthia Jane Anderson was preparing for a new chapter in her life. The 20-year-old had been raised in a very religious household of Christian fundamentalists, following a schedule packed with church prayer meetings, church swimming events, church camping trips, seasonal church parties, and church worship on Sundays.
Too much church if you ask me.
Cynthia's father, Michael Anderson, described Cynthia as a quiet, obedient type of girl who never made waves, yet had lots of friends.
It's too much church.
Yeah.
Can't be going to church that much.
Although if you do have your kids in some sort of religion, you gotta make sure that they know they're in that sort of religion, because I didn't know I was Roman Catholic until I had to go to the emergency room in my 20s.
Right? Too much church.
I
Yeah.
mean, look, I don't know if we need to turn this into a commentary on the church.
It's not a commentary, I'm just saying, it's too much church.
She was a woman of faith who wasn't making
Like
any trouble.
a
That's
rebellion
all
or
that's
something.
communicating there.
Like
I'm
about
sure
a
they had
million.
trouble. If I were going to church that much, I'd kill someone.
Cynthia was described by a neighbor
I mean, if I went to church like a lot, I'd probably be like a really weird person. And of course nowadays, I'm like not really into any sort of religions, but I do sort of agree with like some teachings of Christ, like don't be an asshole, help if you can. Jesus would like totally be pro SNAP benefits.
as an attractive young woman, one who, quote, maybe caught the attention of a passerby, end quote. And while her parents insisted on strict rules and curfews while at home, Cynthia nevertheless had a boyfriend, also a part of the church. That summer, her father said Cynthia had been spending a lot of time on her face and becoming a bit of a debutante.
We've all got phases in our lives where we're spending a lot of time on our faces, acting a bit like a debutante. We all do that. I do that every day. Spend a lot of time on my face.
Clearly.
You think this took 7.5 hours today?
I don't
The
believe
whole
it,
ensemble?
but I do believe it at the same time, if that makes sense. Yeah.
So, can't judge someone for that.
Cynthia worked as a legal secretary in Toledo, Ohio, but was preparing to quit in order to attend Bible college.
Bible
the same
college?
one in which her boyfriend
Okay, see where you're going because your boyfriend's going there, but Bible college. Maybe it's just a me thing because of how, like, a lot of, well, the louder religious people are kind of assholes. It's just that I'm kind of disillusioned with the church a bit because, let's face it, there are people in power at the church who abuse their power. I mean, you're supposed to be a representative of God. God would not want you to abuse that power. Because, let's face it, look at the Middle Ages. The sacking of Rome in like 1527 or 1587. That happened for a reason, because the Pope was a piece of shit.
was currently enrolled. And by the way things were going at the office,
In fact, even this current Pope, Pope Leo whatever, he's one of the less shittier modern day popes from what I hear of what he does. I I mean, he doesn't. He thinks Trump's a dumbass, so that's a win in my book.
Yes, her last day at work couldn't come soon enough.
Sounds like a bad work environment.
Sounds like some foreshadowing here.
Can't be fun to be a secretary at a law firm.
Also, in this time, especially probably not so.
Yeah.
Trying to think of a good lawyer joke. Because lawyers, nobody likes them, right?
No, you're doing great. This is good stuff.
You got a lawyer joke?
No, I was actually just watching.
Look, we haven't toured the Borscht Belt, okay? We're not comedians. We're just a couple of assholes.
Yeah.
Unnerving events had begun to happen.
Let's face it, you can get fed up with work at times.
At work.
I get fed up with my own work
The previous
sometimes.
year, on a wall across from her office window, someone painted the words, "I love you, Cindy,"
fucking
in
stalker.
large letters, along with a smaller, "by GW."
I had someone just slide into my DMs on Discord one time and started saying that they love me. I told them to fuck off and looked at the Discord server we were in, told the moderator about it, showed the receipts. They got kicked out.
According to one of her friends, Cynthia was the only Cindy who worked on that side of the strip mall where the law office was located. The sign seemed intentionally
talking
placed
fast,
in order for Cynthia
the
to
Celsius
see
is
it.
kicked in.
Cynthia apparently had no idea who GW could have been.
George
The
Washington.
message remained up for 6 months before finally being covered up.
What took them so long?
Don't do this to people. Don't be painting "I love you" on buildings. It's not fun for anybody.
No.
Maybe if you're asking someone to homecoming.
Yeah, like homecoming or prom.
Fun.
You can paint that all you want.
Paint it.
Paint it in big ass letters.
Put it on the side of a barn.
HC question mark.
Yeah, you don't want to write all the letters.
No, I mean
HCW me? Question mark? From question mark? And then you're like the Riddler. You send like a little Blair Witch thing with a bunch of
that's
twigs
so
and some
creepy.
blood
I'd
or
still call the
something.
cops
A
on
few
that.
weeks later, the same message reappeared, this time in even larger letters. The sign, however, would soon become the least of Cynthia's worries.
Fuck.
What do you think of the strategy of like, all right, first sign didn't work. Let's make it bigger.
Yeah, I don't think there's...
I'd cover that graffiti up by asking another graffiti artist to cover it up.
a lot of, when people are obsessed, I'm going to guess they're not really thinking logically. This person is not like, well, I guess that didn't work and I should hang it up.
Yeah.
Clearly they're like, well, I guess the issue was it wasn't scary enough.
Obviously, she couldn't see it. She couldn't read it. Okay, I'll make it bigger and I'll make the font brighter.
Not the move.
Not the move.
Not the
You're
move.
taking notes out there. Don't do that.
In that summer of '81, Cynthia began to be harassed by anonymous phone calls with disturbing, ominous messages. One of the law firm's clients, Larry Mullins, recalled a time when Cynthia received a call while he was in the office. Mullins said Cynthia picked up the phone and quickly hung up, only for the phone to ring again soon afterwards.
Ugh.
According to
I
Mullins,
just tried to block the number.
Cynthia's face betrayed the fact that, quote, she was scared. Honestly,
That's just her
sincerely
phone.
scared, end quote. Cynthia began experiencing recurring nightmares in which she would be kidnapped and
That's
murdered
notifications
by a
like-
stranger. Due to the phone calls and Cynthia's growing and understandable paranoia, her employers instructed her to keep the office's doors locked at all times,
Yeah.
even during business hours.
Honestly,
They
based
also
employers.
installed an emergency buzzer at her desk, which would alert a nearby business if she were to use it. Unfortunately, these precautions would
man.
turn out to be inadequate.
Jesus.
Fuck.
That
Great.
sounds like a waking nightmare.
That sounds awful.
Yeah.
Also kind of crazy that they did take these precautions and that they weren't enough.
Yeah, it's odd that they're like, well, you're in peril. It seems like you're in perilous danger. Here's a button.
I mean, they installed it's unfortunately dangerous to be a woman button, and they gave her that, and that still wasn't
Yeah.
enough. Which, by the way, they should have a security detail there, not just a light that shows nearby businesses in the strip mall that she's in trouble. I don't know what anybody who's like working in Aunt Anne's Pretzels is going to do if they
They probably had guns.
see that red light go off. It's not like,
It's Auntie Anne's.
oh, is it Auntie Anne's?
Have some fucking respect.
On Tuesday, August 4th, 1981, Cynthia skipped
Early 80s,
breakfast and left
people
her
had
parents'
guns.
home around 8:30 a.m.
Gun laws weren't as strict as
She
they are
drove
now.
to the law office on East Manhattan Boulevard and was seen as late as 9:45 a.m. Around noon, her employer, attorney James Rabbit, arrived at the office.
How did you end up with the last
The
name
lights
Rabbit?
and radio were on, but there was no sign of Cynthia. The scent of nail polish or nail polish remover reportedly hung in the air. Cynthia was known to leave a note and place the phones on hold if she was stepping out of the office, but she hadn't done either.
Uh-oh.
There was no sign of a struggle, and according to some reports, the office door was still locked from the inside.
What the fuck?
Though her car, a 1980 Chevy Citation,
a newer
was still
model
in
at
the
the time.
parking lot, her keys and purse were
Oh,
missing.
shit.
Perhaps most eerily, a romance
Oh,
novel
what the
that
fuck?
Cynthia
That's
had been
psycho
reading
behavior.
was left
Oh,
open
not
on
so
her
psycho
desk,
behavior.
turned to a page that described the protagonist being abducted at knife point.
Not sure if that was intentional by the kidnapper, or if it was coincidence.
That's weird, huh?
So freaky.
She was reading it, but for it to be open at that page suggests we're dealing with an abductor here who's a real a-hole, who has a flair for the dramatic.
But then what is the abductor reading through the book? What, like if this is broad daylight,
In the middle of an office,
at any moment someone could come in.
the door,
He's not taking the time to thumb through a book for a funny little clue.
unless he had been watching her so much that he had the book himself, knew which page to turn to, and then did
Absolute psycho
Maybe.
that.
behavior.
It seems weirdly coincidental, especially when
I
you
think it's
consider
coincidence.
all the other things.
Oh yeah, I guess
I
it
hope
could
it's
just be a
coincidence.
With a woman missing and precious few
She had been
clues
kidnapped
to help
at
us,
gunpoint or something.
it's time
We
to
don't
dive
know.
into theories about what happened to Cynthia Anderson these 39 years ago. Our first theory is that an obsessed stalker kidnapped Cynthia.
Yeah, that's what I think
Between
happened.
the phone calls and the I love you Cindy sign, it seems someone definitely wanted to get the young woman's attention. Detective William Adams of the Toledo Police Department said investigators worked with Cynthia's friends to try to figure out who GW could be. They were able to turn up only one suspect, a maintenance man with those initials who worked in the building and had keys to all the office doors. No evidence was ever found indicating the man was somehow responsible, however, and no charges were ever brought.
Could be a
It's
red
odd to put
herring.
your own initials if you're trying to be a creep.
That's
right?
true, but this is also the same person who thought it was maybe, oh, the letters weren't big enough. Let's try that and give that another go.
Yeah.
So who knows? But I would also assume there's security cameras, and it can't be good for job security to.
Wait, did they have security cameras in 1981? No, I don't want to try AI mode. Okay, they were found in like banks and shit. But like the technology, it was shit. Even if that law firm did have a security camera, the quality would have been fucking shit.
start an art display on the
No.
opposite building within view of all your employers. As much as this
I mean,
may
it's
be
also a strip
compelling, it
mall.
seems a little too easy.
Probably
Eventually,
didn't
the
have,
man
like,
who
the
spray
stuff.
painted the I love Cindy sign reportedly did come forward. He said the message was intended for a different Cynthia. And once again, he was never
What the
charged.
fuck?
Huh?
The guy who wrote the thing. said
Yeah.
Which
he came
Cynthia?
forward, and it was intended for a different person.
Did he get the wrong place of employment?
What are we doing here?
What a
I'm trying to look
dumbass!
into the mind of the investigators here.
A different Cynthia.
Yeah,
Did she see it?
I actually don't know that.
I would have asked. Sounds like bad investigators. I'd been like, tell me your story. How'd you meet?
She's my wife.
Are you
now.
in love? We're married. We have
She,
six
she
kids.
loved the sign. She loved it, and they'll be like, "Did she?"
Crackles are back on my end. It was raining through my window. That's why I had a towel there.
You see it, and he would say, "You tell me." Shows the ring.
Yeah.
She's
Oh,
my
I thought
wife.
he had a finger missing. You tell me. She bit my finger off.
Yeah.
Strange that they wouldn't look into this guy, huh?
Well,
Yeah.
I guess they did. We actually reached out to see what came of that, but he wasn't charged, and I
Interesting,
guess
I
it
can hear
wasn't
a
for
bit.
that Cynthia, which they must have verified somehow, which means
Yeah.
to me he must have married said Cynthia or
Yeah,
been
hell.
together with that Cynthia.
Yeah.
Or
They'd be like,
dumped.
well, oh, of course it was that other Cynthia.
Show us your Cynthia.
Where
Where
is Jesus Christ? Here's my wallet. There's 4 kids. See, you can see that's Cynthia. That's me and her, please.
A month after Cynthia disappeared, police received an anonymous phone call from a nervous, whispering female voice. The
Oh.
caller claimed Cynthia
Shit.
Anderson was being held in the basement of a white house. There
Uh-oh.
were apparently 2 houses next to one another, owned by the same out-of-town
What the
family. The woman on the phone claimed to know the son of the family was the one holding Cynthia. Police begged for more details, but the caller hung up. Searches for houses like the one described yielded nothing.
Well, that's
Was it a
terrifying,
prank phone
right?
call?
That's no fun. I don't like to hear that. I've said this before, but teens, when they get crank calling, they're out of control.
I hope
And
not.
I can see them being like, "Did you hear about this lady who went missing in our town? Oh, I dare you to call the cops. Tell them you seen her."
Well,
Okay, Jonesy.
if I had a kid who did that,
You'd lock him in the shed.
he'd get a talking to. That's all I'd have
Yeah,
to say.
Yeah.
talking to is probably more reasonable.
Which
Yeah.
in the Bergara family means locking them in the
Oh,
shed.
yeah.
Our next theory is that Cynthia Anderson was murdered, perhaps for overhearing information about a drug deal. One of the attorneys working in the same office as Cynthia in 1981 was Richard Neller. In turn, one of Neller's clients was Jose Rodriguez Jr. In 1996, Neller and Rodriguez were both convicted for involvement in a long-time drug conspiracy.
I doubt it.
Authorities theorized that Cynthia
doubt this
could have
one.
perhaps overheard Neller and Rodriguez discussing some drug deals. She would then have been kidnapped and murdered to secure her silence. In Rodriguez's 1995 trial, one informant testified that Rodriguez had admitted to having murdered the young woman while threatening Neller, whom he accused of representing him poorly.
Dude.
The judge ruled the admittance unreliable,
Yeah.
concluding there was insufficient evidence to say either Neller or Rodriguez were involved in her disappearance, or that she had been kidnapped or murdered at all.
That's a strange thing to lie about. So,
Yeah.
I know we always go over this like, well, sometimes people lie about it because it's a trophy for them or
It's
I think she was kidnapped by a stalker, then murdered.
whatever.
really weird.
Who would do that?
It's weird to me how often this occurs, though, that somebody will willingly confess to something, and then
No
people
way.
will be like, don't believe you. Didn't happen. Let's keep investigating.
Especially if they were like, sorry, we got you on these drug charges. How do you plead? I killed a lady.
2 other possible murderers are brothers Anthony and Nathaniel Cook. Over the course of 16 months in the 1980s, the 2 brothers murdered at least 9 people across Ohio, mostly young women. In 2000, as part of a plea deal with the prosecutor in Lucas County, the same county whence Cynthia disappeared, the Cook brothers confessed on tape to many homicides, though they denied killing
Huh.
Cynthia Anderson.
It's embarrassing to murder with your brother. Can you imagine?
I don't think
To
so.
murder with your brother?
That's what you took from that?
It's embarrassing.
How is that? I mean, it's embarrassing
That
to
is
murder.
one of the
yeah.
least embarrassing
If I
things
went to my
ever.
brother and said, ooh, I'm fired up. I'm going to murder Ryan Bergara.
Okay.
Can you help me? I hope that he would say, maybe sleep on it.
This is being taped, right? I
Yeah.
feel like this is like a recounted conversation.
Our third theory is that Cynthia ran away. The
I kinda
Anderson
doubt
household
that.
had been
I mean, I wouldn't be
described as a
surprised,
strict
but
one, as Cynthia's sister
doubt it.
described, quote, "My parents wanted us involved with church, and we were," end quote. Perhaps Cynthia, staring down the barrel of attending Bible college with a boyfriend who was also a part of the church, wanted to see the world apart from her sheltered vantage point, and walking
That's like a
away
gap
was
year
the
thing,
easiest
though.
way to do so. As we already
That's
mentioned,
not really
Cynthia's
smart.
father had noted her further taking interest in her looks and dieting in the weeks leading up to her disappearance. He suggested these changes may have, quote, contributed to his daughter going missing, end quote.
This is a This is a thin line to walk.
A lot of church.
And I didn't want
Yeah.
to front load the episode with this, but it seems like it's unavoidable now.
A lot of church.
You can't just keep saying a lot of church.
A lot of church.
Was it
I mean,
toxic
Church. What are you doing Sunday? Church.
At-
Tuesday. Church. Wednesday. Church.
At
How about
some
some
point,
church?
it becomes
Wanna do more church?
toxic
What's your
church.
boyfriend like? Well, he likes church. What do you guys do for fun? Church.
It's true, it's a lot of church.
What are you going to study in school? More church. We study Bible. Unfortunately. So
Moderation,
what are you going to be doing for the rest of your life? Just church, church, church?
moderation
I'm
is key.
out of there.
Moderation is key.
I'm bleaching my hair. I'm plucking all my eyelashes out.
That's crazy.
I'm getting out of there, man.
The runaway theory is bolstered by the absence of any signs of struggle and the fact that the doors to the law office were locked. However,
Yeah, but from
there
the
was
inside-
apparently a substantial amount of money left in her bank account, which would have helped her start a new life if that were her intention.
Yeah, was it ever used?
You know, she could have met someone else, right?
No, also,
Some heathen,
here's the thing.
a hot heathen, who was like, come on, hit the road with me. I got cash. Leave it all here.
Is that I was just about to get to that because I was going to say that, like, I know a lot of people online point out that, okay, starting over is expensive, obviously. However, if you want to successfully make it seem like you've disappeared, you don't then pull out all the money from your bank account.
Right.
That doesn't scan.
Also, it's 1981. You work at Baskin Robbins for a summer, you can buy a house. Is it
Yeah.
possible?
There we go.
She was the one who made the phone call about, leading them on a wild goose chase to look for a white house, to throw them off her scent.
Now
Whispering,
that's-
harder to identify her voice, because a whisper, you can't totally tell who that is.
Well, that would
Yeah.
explain the lack of detail in the tip.
Yeah.
Look, I'll say this. I know a lot of the time when we talk about these disappearance cases, there's always inevitably a theory about the person just vanishing themselves.
Yeah.
And it seems like we lean into that theory because, frankly, it's the most happy theory to get behind.
Sure.
But in this case, this one actually has a lot of weight to it, and I actually do genuinely think it makes the most sense out of all the theories.
I do too.
Because
Yeah,
if
it
you just
does
plug
make
in all the
sense.
circumstantial evidence, which is what we use to say, like, I think that guy's the murderer, if you do that formula, this theory is the one that makes the most sense. The lack of struggle, the door being locked from the inside, her not doing the things she usually does when she steps away from the office, it makes sense for what it's worth. And I didn't even think about the phone tip.
I would have run away after, like do a semester of college, then go into Lamb.
Maybe you have somewhat of a detective brain.
Cynthia, thanks for watching.
I believe it. I've stamped it. That's my number one theory.
Cool.
Of course,
It's my worth it winner.
there has been a scene of her in over 40 years, so I think that unfortunately she was taken and possibly murdered.
Next August will mark 40 years since a young legal secretary in Toledo, Ohio, disappeared without a trace. When Michael Anderson died in 2008, his obituary said he was preceded in death by his daughter Cynthia. The case, however, is still open, and Ohio's longest active missing
I
persons
think
case.
he's
The
dead.
Toledo Police Department asks that anyone with information contact them. As for whether Cynthia is out there somewhere, a 59-year-old detached from her past, or whether she met a grimmer fate years ago, remains unsolved.
Well, look, I hope that last theory is true, and if that is true and you're watching this, Cynthia, I don't think you are, I hope you're having a great life.
Yeah, I'm rooting for her. Old gal out there. Hope she's living the dream,
She would also join a community of other people that we've covered and hope that were just out there living their best life, too.
I mean, it's possible. It's possible. People have done it. People have gone off the grid, changed their
Yeah,
lives.
they have.
It's easier than you think.
Well, if you vanished, I would look for you if you wanted me to look for you.
Thank you.
But I guess I wouldn't know unless we had some kind of code or a signal. Like if I go to your house and they're like, yeah, nothing, we have no trace of Shane Madej, everything is as it was when he left. There's still food on the table, but if in the food there's a single avocado slice, I'll know. That's the signal that you just wanted to get away forever.
What I'll do is
Yeah.
I'll put a grain of rice in my mailbox.
I feel like it needs to be a little more substantial than that.
That's my
Dude.
signal.
That's a
Look
good
for
s-
rice in the mailbox.
It's a stupid signal.
Yeah, I unfortunately think that she was, one way or another, murdered. Like, she could have been like a hit and run, like an accident or something like that. If like her bank account wasn't touched, I don't think she's alive. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.